Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So I wanted to take out the time to express some of my opinions about the open beta for the Division 2 and how it landed, and I genuinely think that the beta did very well. And I think some of the merits to the Division 2 have to be stated and stated very clearly. And I know a lot of people are going to be doing videos, sharing their own impressions and opinions and talking about how they perceive the open beta for the Division 2. And I wanted to do this in this video, but as much as I would love to do that, I really genuinely do want to hear from you, the audience, how you felt about the beta, because that will give me pretty much a feel for whatever the community is thinking about the game right now, pre-release. Probably I'll get my confirmation bias and not feel like I'm the only one that's thinking that this open beta actually did well, or perhaps your feedback will help me realize that some people actually did not enjoy the game as much as I did. So I'm trying not to create a bubble with my opinions or, live in an echo chamber. And I'm here reaching out to you guys to give your feedback. And so I'm going to put up some questions that I'm going to address over the course of this video. And I'm inviting you to please address these questions in the comment section at the end of the video. Now, the first question is about the presentation of the Division 2's public beta. I would like to know how you perceived the presentation of the Division 2's public beta. In my own experience, I had no issues at all. I had no delta disconnections. I had no frame rate drops. I had no stutters, no sound glitches. It was a smooth overall experience. But as I was reading comments around the web, I was able to see some people had said that they had sound glitches, which the developers have promised to fix in a day one patch deployment. So please leave comments if you had any other issues that I probably have not mentioned here, and if there are issues that you actually saw crop up. And so that we can know if these are things that we can be looking out for. Hopefully they don't pop their heads up in the release of the game. I was also able to see that the developers largely and widely were able to step in and actually fix some disconnection issues during the beta as well. So as usual, I think Massive is trying to stay on top of things. And this even helps me remember a video that I made a few months ago during the E3 aspect, the E3 release of the game. And I made a video saying that the Division 2 was going to shine. And the basis of my argument then was that the developers of the Division game were actually quite present within the community in the sense that they were infused in the lifeblood of the entire community. And Ubisoft has an understanding that if you put a face in front of the product, people are going to give you their attention. So this is what they've done. They've done this with the Division brand. So they have developers that are people whom we in the community sort of know by name. We know their roles and we know what questions to ask them. And so this kind of makes the game a very different experience, much more than just playing a game. You can reach out to developers and ask them very valid questions. And when they're doing streams, state of the games, you can throw questions in that are of big concern. Now, I also feel like for a live gaming service, they do it better than some. You see, this product that you're seeing called the Division 2 is largely a composition of listening to the community over the course of about 3 years and bringing a game that we've actually wanted to the Division 2. And so in my opinion, I think this game has received a better presentation, judging from the public beta, than anything else out there in this period. And so this open beta really rang true to me to that side of things, that the Division is actually going to do well. I'm actually quite excited about all of this, and I have a very positive outlook for the game. And especially the fact, like right now, live game services are not necessarily doing well, and they don't have a good reputation, judging especially from EA's PR nightmare with Anthem. This just goes to show that Massive and Ubisoft have spent time developing their community relationships, and they've matured and they know what it takes to successfully push out this product and continually support it over the course of time. The second question that I wanted to address is the gameplay. And I wanted to ask you, how did the gameplay impress upon you? Did you enjoy every single aspect of the gameplay? Were there aspects of the gameplay that you seemed like could be improved? And so in my case, I was able to enjoy the gameplay a lot more in this open beta because there was a lot more time for me to spend compared to the private beta, which was released at a very busy period. So I didn't have a lot of time in place to be able to explore. And so I wasn't able to give it as much of an in-depth look as I did in this open beta. I even got to go to the Dark Zone. I did the introduction to Dark Zone, but I didn't really want to do too much in regard to progression because the game is not released yet. And when it's fully released, we're all going to start all over from the beginning. And I know the way these things work. We've done a lot of testing for Massive. If you're a Division community member, you've done a lot of PTSs where they roll out new releases, new changes, and we test it on a PTS server. and then it's rolled into the game when it's approved by them and when the community feels like it's ready to go. So one of the best things that I tried to do was not do too much, but ensure that I was doing enough of the things that I liked to kind of see if I was able to enjoy those things and dive in, and if they didn't break my immersion. And so my verdict on the gameplay, especially on the PvE side, is that the game is a hardcore PvE game. I don't really know what the PvP is like, but I've heard the sentiment of a lot of the PvP players. And so my verdict on the gameplay, especially on the PvE side, is that the game is definitely what PvE players would enjoy, as much as it pains me to say. But on the other side of things, I've listened to the PvP community in the Division for years, so I know when a Division content creator is dissatisfied about an issue. Sometimes they make it clear, or during their streams, you can hear the sarcasm in their voices and in the way they approach things, and it's not too difficult to tell. So some PvP players don't seem to like a lot of the new direction that the game has gone in terms of PvP, and they've made it known. I'm saying this from what I've seen, from the evidence that's out there. I can tell that there's a little bit of animosity towards the new PvP, but eventually, this is what I think it's going to happen, because I know that the Division PvP community is actually a community that's going to grow into it. One of the things I love about the Division PvP community is that they are some of the most resilient creatures in the world. These folk will find adaptive ways, they'll find builds, they'll find techniques, methods, play styles in order to be successful in PvP regardless. And eventually, once the PvP is widely accepted, we're going to see a well-rounded product and maybe some changes, some balances which may need to happen in order to increase enjoyment and improve the quality of life in the game overall. But I can say for now, and I speak for myself, I'm happy with the PvE. If you don't think the PvP is actually solid right now, please leave comments, and that way I can kind of know, because I'm not really into PvP, so you can help educate me on what's going on. Now, many folk out there may not be happy with the PvE as well, and there might be some things that you feel may need to be changed or adjusted, and I want you to leave those in the comment section and let's talk about them. I want to read what you guys actually think about all of this stuff. I just want to kick back and enjoy reading your thoughts about the game, and I would say that it is quite educational, to say the least, and it's just actually nice to have conversations and give feedback to issues. Another thing that I would like to speak about is the game Anthem. So right now, Anthem is going through a PR struggle, and I don't intend to sit here and bash on Anthem. In fact, if you want to hear my thoughts on Anthem, I'm actually the guy that's defending those who are playing the game and who are fans of the game. I'm not defending EA. I don't care about their business practices and the way they do things, but there are some people who like Anthem, who like the mechanics, and who like the game, and they want to continue to play it. But my question to you, Division players, and if you're maybe somebody also looking into Anthem, is how do you feel the Division 2 will land compared to Anthem's release? I genuinely, personally think the Division 2 will outshine Anthem. Now, my comments here are not directed to Anthem fans, but they are probably more directed to those who were naysayers of the Division 2 in light of Anthem. Those people who said things like, oh, Anthem is going to be a better game. Anthem is a better game than the Division 2. The Division 2 looks like this and that, or boring or whatever. And I wanted to address that right now, because what we've seen is, as bad as it may sound, people are saying that the Division 2 seems to already have more content than Anthem, even in the beta. Now, personally, I'll never go as far as saying that the beta had more content than Anthem, but I know for sure that if the Division 2's core design and pattern of progression is similar to that of the first Division game, then Division 2 itself will have more content than Anthem on launch. It's just the way it is now, and it's worth saying. But let's also note that the Division 2 should have been the Division 1. You see, because most of what we're getting right now in the Division 2 is a combination of what the developers have heard us say and some of the things that we were promised in the beginning of the Division cycle. For example, drones. These were shown in the E3 presentation for the first Division game a number of years back, but we're just getting it now after so many years down the road. So I'm not in any way saying that the Division is in some way a better game, because the mistakes have been made by Ubisoft themselves. But what I'm saying is that Ubisoft, Massive, and Red Storm, and the studios that have colluded in making the Division 2 have had a lot more experience in developing and putting out a live service game than EA's BioWare. So the first Division game made some mistakes by releasing a game that had very mediocre endgame, and they also downgraded the product. These were two mistakes that they made that EA's BioWare made as well. They were mistaken to think that, in the Division's side of things, that PvP was going to appeal to everyone and serve as an end game, but they failed to understand that they had a very diverse player base with different needs, there was a large number of players who wanted more than just one incursion mission or a dark zone as an endgame attraction. So this time, Ubisoft tactfully launched their Division 2 campaign with a different mentality than EA's BioWare, and they did exactly what Anthem failed to do, because they set their emphasis on an endgame first mentality. In fact, during the marketing campaigns, I noticed that at the times EA was having its issues about lackadaisical endgame content, Massive dropped their year one content trailer like an explosive. They were not shy about letting everybody know that there is a worthwhile endgame grind and an extra 1 year content down the road for people to actually enjoy. So EA BioWare would have to take a page from the guys at Ubisoft and Massive and the other studios. And so this is where the Division has actually come out on top this season. Because I've seen comments with a lot of people saying that they're going to return their purchase of Anthem and they're going to buy the Division 2. And I've also seen comments saying that the Division 2 looks like a gem in light of Anthem, which is not the sentiment that I got in the first few months of Anthem's release. But we knew what was going on. I mean, we're Division players, and so we kind of knew the inside stuff, but there was no need arguing. We just wanted to make a lot of the Anthem people that were bashing the Division just look, empty-handed at this time. So I'm not mocking you. I just think it's very funny to see people actually who were saying that Anthem was going to be a better game, and then after a few days of its release, watch them change their opinions, which is nice because that means we're going to get a lot more people in the Division community. So if you're coming from Anthem, I welcome you. In fact, I'm really happy that you've made the choice, because I hope that you enjoy the Division game, and I hope that you adopt its play style, and I hope that you're welcomed into the community of players as well. And finally, I wanted to ask you, do you hear the overwhelming silence from the critics? I mean, the private beta was like a poop storm. Folks were shouting all over the place that the game was boring, bullet spongy, blah, 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 yeah, 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 wah, 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 wah. But Ubisoft was very smart. They sponsored so many videos to counter the noise because they know how bad PR can hit you. The unfortunate thing for EA was that they didn't change that game well enough. They didn't sponsor enough videos to shield for them. And so their mountain of past sins in the gaming community cannot be so easily forgotten in the eyes of the community. In fact, what really hurt EA more, I think, was their PR stunt and sponsoring people, because the moment they actually put that Game Changers tag on Anthem, it really raised the suspicion of the community to an unhinged level, because they use it in FIFA. I'm a FIFA person. I know about how they do it there in FIFA and in the EA's golden goose thing going on there. But they then tried it here and it just did not work out, because some of the EA Game Changers were just not willing to sell their souls. I mean, fine, they entered the program maybe kind of knowing what was going on, but then when they found out that it would cost them their credibility, they could not sit with it, could not sit with them. So EA just needs to learn how to make good games. That's all. Develop a community, let things just work organically. But from a business perspective, I gave Ubisoft a round of applause and all the studios around them for the open beta experience. So far we may still hear the critics, but they'll be drowned by the overwhelming positive reception the Division 2 is going to receive from its hardcore fan base. Anyways, that was my rant, and that's all I have. So please hit up the comment section and let me know what your experience of the public beta was. I will see you guys in my next video. Hopefully, I can put out something that you guys will find helpful. Thank you once again, and I appreciate your time and audience. Peace.
They unite us.
Remind us that we are one people. They are our shield and our light. But if that light goes out,
Who can save us then?